People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning back in, folks. It means a lot. Now, you lot know me, I love young players. I'm obviously going to love young players that play for Arsenal. So when our former head of youth development, Andries Jonker, who's not just been at us, he's been at a number of clubs, and he's now at Telstar, where, well, formerly Marcus McGain was there, but now he's at Nottingham Forest, having left us to join Barca. And Charlie Gilmore is there on loan, obviously from Premier League side Norwich. I'm a former midfielder who made his debut before leaving. And maybe Jonker is the reason they're there. Maybe he will cross paths there or we're there. I don't know. But yeah, he was our former development man and he's left. And yeah, man, he's been quite vocal since he's left. Not in a disrespectful way, but speaking about players, development, and he's very vocal on the English thing and English teams needing to play youth products, because you're seeing a lot of players that are not necessarily from England but being at clubs and thinking, you know what, I'm going to bust out, or players that are English youth nationals and then they're leaving and becoming £100 million players and stuff like Jadon Sancho. There's never one single thing, and it doesn't always work for everybody. Just because you run off to Germany doesn't mean you're going to be a madness. It doesn't. Everyone's story and path and just footballing career is different, people. But enough of my waffling. This is what he's actually said. He's admitted he wants to see more teams take gambles, but he doesn't have the solution. I believe he sat down with Sun Sport, which I shouldn't really have said the name, but he said, "What we developed is unbelievable for English standards. Iwobi, Maitland-Niles, Nelson, Joe Willock, Saka, McGain, Smith-Rowe. Come on, those are some nice players," and he's right. A lot of them have made their first team debuts, people, and Iwobi himself has gone on to become a £30-40 million player for the club, and considering that's out of your academy, it's decent. Saka's first team, Nelson is first team, Willock is first team, Emil is more or less first team as well. McGain left, you can't begrudge him for going to experience other stuff. You can say he's played for Arsenal and Barcelona, and obviously when you look at it on the surface, he didn't really get a chance at Arsenal and it didn't happen from at Barca. You can be naive and say it was a failure, and you know, that's your opinion, but I believe it was decent of him. He's gone to Barca, obviously made his debut. He was never going to make it there, let's be honest. It's a tough ask of him, but he's been with other coaches, he's learned other climates, he's had to grow up as a man. He moved out there with his girlfriend as a young teenager. So there's many different things, different cultures, climates, the way he coaches, things he can pick up. Now he's got Arsenal and thing on his CV. It's time to develop. From what I've seen, he's in Nottingham Forest's under-23s, and that's a bit concerning because you need to get on a bit. And he's obviously went to Telstar on loan and got some football. But yeah, moving forward, it's very nice to see them get chances. In England, those 92 clubs develop a huge amount of players, but where do they go? They do not play them. They escape to Holland and Germany. They develop themselves, and then the English clubs think, let's bring them back. It's catastrophic. Why do Jadon Sancho and Nelson have to go out and back? I don't have the solution. He's obviously referring to Nelson's loan spell. Blaming Emery for that. But, I mean, sometimes these players force it. They want to go out on loan. And what people don't speak is the agents a lot of the time, you know. Agents get some dead moves for certain players. Like, there's one agent that did a dead move for a certain Arsenal player. I'm not going to talk too tough. But, you know, certain agents are dead. Moving forward, he said, "I believe the English need coaches with the guts to give English boys a chance, but I understand when you buy a foreign player for 30 million, you don't take the risk on an 80 million on an 18-year-old homegrown player. And you might also lose your job if you're not getting results." But I share the same thing with you, my guy, really, because most managers will go for that average Joe who's going to give 6 out of 10s out of 10 games versus that young player, which is, you know, you've got to develop consistency, but catch-22, you've got to be given a chance to do it. He might, in 10 games, he might, you know, you see with Saka, 10 games, he's giving you a base level of probably 7, 8, 9. Nelson is probably going to fluctuate. Nelson will have games where he's at a 10, then he's at a 4, then he's at a 5, then he was a 6. And, you know, it's nothing to do with Nelson. He's still developing. But most managers will see that and think, I need 3 points or I'm losing my job. I'm not going to be able to put the roof over my head. So I'm going to go with these average Joes that are going to put 5 and 6s out of 10s because I've got some confidence from that. And that's the major thing. Saka showed, someone had to be brave and have balls big enough to give him a chance, but he's given confidence that, yo, forget my age, I'm on this thing, left back, winger, I'm not trying to do this 23 things, I'm Bukayo Saka and I'm here to be part of this first team. And every game he played well. Like, there was one game, was it Villa? We was poor as a side. Saka was hard done by to get subbed. But through playing consistently, he's given his managers confidence now. So now his age is irrelevant. Not every young player is going to be like Saka and Martinelli, and they're going to go through hardships in their careers. It's not going to be plain sailing for everybody. There will come a time Arsenal fans ask questions of Bukayo Saka. Right now, him and Martinelli, like you saw with even Maitland and Iwobi, obviously not highest potential levels, young players go through this stage where they're the golden boy. Can't do nothing wrong. Can't do nothing. Rashford had it at United. Then people are like, oh, I want to see this and that. And then the unreal expectations. Some fair constructive criticism is fine, but unreal expectations are placed on players. And people get so caught up on the players they're meant to be tomorrow, they're forgetting they're still developing. Look at Callum Hudson-Odoi, even before his injury. Look, this happens, people, all the time, But moving forward, he said, it's still possible to build a really good team based on your own academy. It sounded like Wenger. Is it? I believe it is. But if Arsenal say we're going to develop our kids in the current way we are now, that's not a bad thing. But would fans accept that we're going to even slip further away? Because United are going to reinvest. You'd bet on your life as a Liverpool fan they will reinvest after 2 good seasons. They might need a couple of players to shake things up. City definitely going to come harder. Chelsea are going to surely sign a striker on top of Tammy doing his thing and the rest of them young players. And top 4 is vital to this club. Are we going to... Obviously, it's nice to develop players, but at some time you have to say to yourself, are we going to be a farm here? Or are we trying to develop players but win stuff? And I think also clubs and fans need to accept that some are going to slip. Don't get twisted. Gnabry, Dunhill, Marlon and Benassi, I can't forgive this club for, because me and my little thing with my video was saying, well, I'll go on for this. But there are going to be players that slip. There are going to be ones you might miss out. You might develop 3, say, Jadon Sanjos, but you might miss out. You had a Phil Foden right there and you couldn't play him in it. Just doesn't happen, innit? It's not always the case, people. It's a madness. People slip through the net. He moved on to say, well, he referenced Ajax, Munich and Barcelona as teams who have conquered Europe with people from their own nation and area. But in current years, have they really done that? I don't think so. Last time Barcelona won the Premier League, it was a Brazilian and a Uruguayan scoring, and they're doing their thing courtesy of an Argentinian for the last few years. So yeah, but moving forward, he said it's possible to buy a team and win the Champions League. Yes, you can buy like Man City. They will play for money and go. Fair play. But I strongly believe if you want to be successful in a long period, you have to raise them yourself. That needs time, but you can do it. Do you have the guts? I fully believe him and share that statement, my guy. He said, England will always have the most money, but to keep an eye out for your own talent, that would be very beneficial for English football for multiple reasons, from first team to every club to the national team. Apologies for that. I've lost where I am now, courtesy of whoever decided to phone me. Thank you very much. I'm going to shout at you when this thing's done. But he said, part of the problem is the gulf between Premier League 2 matches in front of... Well, no, that's from the article. Apologies, people. They've really flustered me now. He said, well, he was asked in reference to under-23 games. He said, those matches are played for 200 people, never 15,000. There is no real pressure. It's not about the result. It's about development. And I do believe it should be a bit of both. The result isn't the be-all and end-all at that level, and definitely when you're not a kid, but you need to understand the ramifications of winning and losing. And especially when you're the top ballers at the top teams, you don't really go through that. When you play each other, yeah, it's a mad thing, but 9 times, like Joe Willock and Eddie Nketiah and Bukayo Saka, 3 Arsenal, there's been more, but 3 Arsenal players of recent years that... Three Arsenal players of recent years that have come to mind, people that were too good for that level. Joe Willock, bully. Even when we entered the Checo Trade Trophy and we're playing Forest Green, Joe Willock is bullying these people. I genuinely started to believe Joe. I was saying, I made vids about it. I said Joe can't afford to play 23s football. He's not going to develop. The same goes for Eddie Nketiah. Bullying, man, scoring goals for fun. Times I'm seeing it, really they're scoring goals and they're doing their jobs, but really it's 6 out of 10 performances. Not because of their fault, but they're not being pushed. Bukayo Saka he's a rarity. He's always taken to every level, but he was bullying, man. Do you know how many sick goals him and Amici, who's now left and gone to Hamburg, obviously, did for us? Amici might be one that slipped through the net as well, but he's finding it tough at Hamburg himself. So we need to remember, not everyone develops at different rates, and people... ultimately fall through the wayside. Moving away from this, people, he was pressed in relation to... Well, no, before I said that, there was another comment Although it's a relaxed environment at Telstar, we still want to win. If you don't perform, you won't play. We want to win. We have to win. And that's what it's about. I don't feel footballers in academies, they really understand that at the end of the day, 3 points is it. People are fighting for their jobs. And it's almost a catch-22 because it's a culture shock at times, really. They really need to understand the need to fight. And obviously they understand the need to fight. They've gone through academies where they've been released and stuff. But I think they don't truly believe it. And I don't think players are generally equipped in academy football, broadly speaking, for the psychological aspects, people. How to deal with setbacks, how to deal with failures, how to deal with actually a fan is sad, people. But fans saying, just going to, like, because you can mute them playing games, but you can hear that. So a fan saying your shit. I'll give you, like, once I went to watch Barnet play, people, forgive me. You know, well, I can't remember the team, but my boy, I'll get him on one day to verify this story. We've gone now. We watch Barnet, but Arsenal's my team, so I'm just here on the banner thing. Bearing in mind, I've paid my ticket. You know, I've dedicated my weekend to watch you, so you shouldn't even be entertaining my nonsense. I'm a nobody to you. But the opposition, like, obviously, Barnet's the local thing. So there's this, I can't remember the player's name, people, but I said, you're fucking shit. And he heard me and he looked at it and said, yeah, you're shit. And the other people said it, like my boy said it as well. And you could see his face drop, people. You could tell his face. I genuinely believe we played him play dead because you could see his face drop, evidently, him stopping, trying. And he looked like a grown-ass man. He stopped trying things. He actually switched flanks. And, you know, I was thinking, you shouldn't be listening to me because I'm a waste man for telling you that. You get it? Like, you're getting paid to be a baller. You shouldn't listen. But generally, they're not equipped for that, people, and I've seen players struggle with that. When pressed on Arteta, though, or Arteta's work, obviously he said it's never a one-man show, which is not. Arteta needs help. The club who worked with the boys daily were outstanding. In a short period, we did a really good job together. Arteta started his training career at Hale. He said to me, "Can I do something here?" His little boy was playing. He has an interest in young players, like you're seeing with his fondness of Reece Nelson, his continued faith in Bukayo Saka, and his continued praise of Martinelli and Joe Willock. I mean, the only one not playing is Maitland because, you know, I think Maitland should be getting chances and could definitely do better in midfield than Joe, in my opinion, in certain aspects. But if you're not training well enough, you're not going to play. Arteta has shown he'll back you, he'll play you, he will take the heat. But you got to show him a reason to get behind people. And I'm keen to see what he's going to do with the other players, man. He said, he was pressed on other stuff. He said, I always thought I would become a technical director. But I found out whenever I'm in the office, after a few months, I think the sun is shining, the boys are outside, the balls are outside. Let me do that. Big parts of the facilities at Hale are my ID and came from my head. It's very nice to see it being developed, but it's nicer to develop Marcus McGain and Charlie Gilmore. Working with players is what I enjoy the most. In the world of top football, some players think, as long as I get my salary, it's fine. That's not the case here. When they get their salary, they cry by his own admission. And obviously, he's been part of Bayern Munich, he's been part of Barcelona. He's been, you know, Jonker's been part of some big boy stuff. Really, 57-year-old. There's few people you can really talk to him more about youth talent and whatnot. And, you know, for whatever reason, he decided that it wasn't gonna last at Arsenal. But it's always nice to hear these sort of thoughts. And for me, you lot know me. I love Haaland. I always want it to be at the forefront. I do believe, first and foremost, we should be looking at players from the first team. I mean, from the academy to first team. Obviously, you plug gaps where you can't source players that are good enough. Obviously, you need to bring in superstars and players that are better than what we have. But our academy should be at the forefront. For me, obviously, with Arsenal and the technical-based players, and I can sit here and wax lyrical about Tyrese, John Jules, Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, Joel Willock, Bukayo Saka, the under-16s, Patino, Flores, Kion Edwards, Tyler Ferrans. There's a bag of them. Potential's just potential. Mauro Bandera, but there's a bag of them. Bag of great players, good potentials, and whatever's happening in Haaland is working because we've got Saka now. In a couple of years, we want to see the next one. Do you get it? Our commitment to bringing through a first-team player one every 2 years is still here. That's one thing I give Gazidez. Really, one truthful thing I took from anything that's come out that man's mouth. I see no reason why I must admit, it's all debatable if your name's not Bukayo Saka and Martinelli and you're in and around that first team. I think every young player that's been given opportunities under Arteta can make it in some capacity of different varying roles, but I think Saka's the only certainty I can say with my heart, really and truly. But I see no reason why these players can't become good players and do stuff for us. I also see no reason where, if I was really scrutinising us, when was the last quality centre-half that came through this team? Now, we've got Zach Awe who can play centre-half and midfield in the 16s, and Mon Louise, but I'm not going to place that pressure on a 15, 16-year-old. When was our last certified centre-half that came from this academy? It's Tony Adams. A team like us shouldn't be doing that. We should be, with our crisis that's been here for a number of years at centre-half, we should be looking to our academy. But truthfully, if I look left and right at the academy right now, I see some decent players, but I don't really think any's off the mustard. Like, I'd probably give Harry Clark the opportunity because his performances at 23s has been good. I think Daniel Ballard's a good player and he was robbed by injuries. I think Medley's decent, but he doesn't defend like a defender first. He thinks like an attacker in my head. I think all his strengths are more or less being on the ball in the modern day sort of centre-half. I don't think he's necessarily the best defensively, but he's young. These things can be coached and he is very good technically. But I'm waffling now. There's nothing more to add. I'm going to get out of it. People, deluded. I'm out.